So one of you guys requested from my last video that I dive a little bit deeper into branding. And it's an important subject. Whether you're a small local business just getting started, or you're aiming to become a big business, or maybe you're just wondering, why do we buy the things we buy? This video's for you. So what is branding, you might ask? Branding is your company's representation. It's that certain feeling you get when your great idea or product is tied to a certain outcome. Take Disneyland, for example. When you think of Disneyland, you probably think of Peter Pan, Snow White, Seven Dwarfs, Mickey Mouse, happy thoughts from your childhood. And because of the amount of work that Disney has invested into its brand, most of the time people have very positive associations, which helps build customer loyalty and ultimately brings more customers to its product. And this leads us to positive outcomes. As you guys all know, I'm a total Apple fanboy. This laptop right here, I had it for over 12 years and it served me well. It didn't have any problems and I didn't even need to replace it until last year in 2023. And that's a ridiculous lifespan for a computer. The average time you usually have a computer is 3 to 5 years before you need to replace it. And the crazy thing is, it kept up with some of the best computers that were on the market today. And really the only reason I had to replace that computer was because the speakers finally died on it, the disk drive went out, and it's become slower and slower and hasn't been able to keep up with the technology and websites that are current today. Before that, it was fantastic. But you know what? Did I go and switch back from Apple to a regular PC? Did I go get a Dell or a HP? No, because I have had nothing but powerhouse experiences with this brand. And because of the exceptional quality of the products that they make, I'm going to forever be a returning customer. On my previous MacBook, before the one I just showed you guys, I had it for 1 year and it started having logic board issues. And it would randomly shut itself off or just go dark. So I took it to the Apple store one day and I was like, hey, I don't know what's going on with this, but it's having issues. And I had Apple Care on that computer. And you know what? They just gave me a brand new computer, even though the one I had was over a year old. Like, what company does that? That's exceptional customer service. And those are exactly the type of positive outcomes that you want to see attached to your brand. If your brand is able to produce the results that your clients, scratch that. If your brand is able to exceed the results that your clients are looking for, you're definitely going to build a super strong following. And you're probably like, cool, okay, that sounds great, I get it. But what can I do to really draw people to my products? And that's where effective branding comes in. Through consistent messaging, visual identity, and emotional appeal, you can create a desire for your product before people even try it. And this is more to do with marketing, but the visual is super important. When you see the silhouettes of these logos here, you no doubt already know that this is Mickey Mouse, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Bluetooth, and Nike. And it can be tricky choosing the right logo in the beginning, but oftentimes brands end up altering their logo many times before they settle on that perfect look. Take a look at Mickey Mouse. He was way different when they started to what he is today. So really put some thought into it. And the same thing goes for the name you choose. Having not only a strong, but unique name is super important. Like Google, Instagram, and TikTok. These names are not only unique, they're one of a kind. It's very rare in business that you'll find someone trying to use a similar name to these that are trying to scale to the same level. It just doesn't happen. The other thing you really need to be careful of is when you choose your name, try not to choose a name that could be possibly associated with a person. Because what can happen is the person using that name can dominate that space for an unknown amount of time. So for instance, I really like to make smoothies in the morning. I got my bananas and my strawberries and I toss them in my Ninja blender, which is great. It's a great brand. They make a great product. I would recommend it to all my friends. And then some of you guys might even really be into the TV show American Ninja Warrior, which is cool. Kind of ties into this blender idea with all the people that are, really physically fit. They probably drink smoothies and all that stuff. So those two could kind of clash pretty well together. But if you ask anyone who's between the ages of 10 to probably 18 or 20 about Ninja, the first thing that's going to pop up is this guy, a very, very talented video game streamer who dominates the YouTube algorithm. He's the very first person you're going to see when you type the name Ninja into YouTube, and you're going to have to scroll for quite a while until you get to something that's not related to his channel. And do you see why that's a problem, especially if you're creating a product or a brand? Because YouTube in today's age is more popular than TV or any of the other streaming services. So you want to make sure you have a name that when people search it, you're going to come up. A similar idea back in the day before YouTube was really popular was Pam. So you know Pam, the cooking spray. You know, I cook a lot of chicken wings. Yeah, I like myself some chicken wings. But I cook a lot of it. I use Pam, the spray, and it's a great product. It's a great name. Pam, you know, bam, you spray it. But back in the 90s, when I was growing up, 90s to early 2000s, even though Pam was around as a product, the first thing everyone thought of was the it girl, Pamela Anderson, because she was dominating the space with the name Pam. And as you move on from the 90s and early 2000s and you get into the 2000s to pretty much now, and you hear the name Pam, the first thing most people are going to think of is Pam from The Office, because that's what really dominated the space during that time period. So you really want to be careful with the names that you choose, because it could be overshadowed by something else or someone else. Really strive to be unique. There's so many little things to think of, but it doesn't really take a lot to be creative. Like, think about some of the names we hear out there. Facebook, Twitter, X. Those aren't very creative names, but they're unique, and people really gravitated towards them and adapted them. Febreze, like what is that? Febreze, you know? They're very unique names though, and they put some thought into it and they're like, this is what I'm going with. So think about that when you're choosing a name. Another really powerful thing that can help your branding is going to be slogans. So there's this guy on the radio that comes on all day, every day, and I don't really listen to the radio or watch TV anymore, but he released so many commercials over the years that I have never forgotten his slogan. You know, he says his name first, and he says he's for the people, and everybody knows who that guy is because he's done such a great job of building his brand. Another company that comes to mind is Ghetto. So I don't know if you guys know about the air conditioning company called Ghetto, but their slogan's so common. I haven't even heard it in a long time. But in their slogan, what they say is GOETTL. It will keep you cool, but it's hard to spell. And it's just so catchy that, you know, when you think about air conditioning here in Arizona, that's the first thing you think of is those Ghetto commercials. Not ghetto commercials, but ghetto commercials, you know, because their slogan is just that catchy. People will remember these brands for years to come because they've learned how to really tap into marketing magic. And then another really powerful part of branding is going to be associations and partnerships. You can get a great pair of shoes at Payless or DSW, but what do people typically want to go for? Nike. And why do they want to go for Nike? Because their favorite athlete is wearing it. If you're a 90s kid, you'll remember the ad campaign, If I Could Be Like Mike. And how do you be like Mike? By wearing Air Jordans. And who makes Air Jordans? Nike. It was brilliant. All the kids loved it. Michael Jordan was a national icon. He kept winning. Everybody wanted to be like Mike. It was really the best campaign ever. And if you're able to tie someone like that to your brand or product, bam, you're going to get so much attention. One of the biggest industries I see this in is colognes and perfumes. And it started with this lady named Elizabeth Taylor back in the day. But I remember when I was a kid, used to always see Diamonds by Elizabeth Taylor. And now every freaking celebrity has their own cologne or perfume. You know, you see Gwen Stefani with her Harajuku, I think it's called. You got Antonio Banderas, 50 Cent's got a cologne. Everybody is getting into the business because they know by attaching their name to it, it's going to sell like crazy. And oftentimes there's even sneaky ways that you can do this. So for instance, say you're working at a car dealership and you just sold a brand new car. You know, it's great. The client's happy. They can't wait to show it off to their friends and family. So you as a salesman, you give them one of your branded Stanley mugs. They have the cup. It's in their cup holder. They also have a little pin with your car dealership's name on it. And maybe if you're smart, you put your name and your phone number on that pin as well. And when they show off their new car, they're gonna be like, where did you get this beauty? And they're going to be looking at the advertisement for your company. Your friend's basically going to be walking around with that mug and that pen, and every time someone takes notice of it, they're going to think about it. So that's a little career strat there. You know, if you're in sales and you're trying to make people come over to your business, those little tokens when you make a big sell go a long way. But let's circle back for a minute. So say you are able to secure brand recognition by partnering with a celebrity. What does that enable you to do as a company? Charge a premium. When I used to work in retail, people were obsessed with Michael Kors and Louis Vuitton bags. Why? Because celebrities like Beyonce and Taylor Swift were always wearing them on TV. And I don't really know how true these statements are, but I always see on the internet that these bags are made super cheap and sold for up to hundreds of thousands of dollars because people are willing to pay for it to look like their favorite celebrity. People love identifying with the brands of the rich and successful people that they look up to that they see on TV. So if you're able to absolutely secure something like that for your business, do it. Sometimes though, your brand can really take a hit and you gotta work hard to rebuild it in the eyes of the people. Today, we call that getting canceled. A really great example of that is Martha Stewart. When I was a kid, this woman was everywhere. You know, she was baking and cooking on TV. She was telling you how to decorate your homes. Women were following her like they used to follow Oprah Winfrey. It was nuts. And then this chick went to jail. But Martha's done such a great job of rebranding herself. I bet if you asked most people today, they can't even tell you why Martha went to jail. I know I personally don't remember. I know it had something to do with money. But I don't remember because she's done such a great job. But Martha's brand has been renewed and rebranded. She's everywhere. I mean, I go to the grocery store, I see her on the cover of magazines, I see her in the wine section, she's partnering, she's hanging out with Snoop Dogg. Like, who would have ever, if you were in the 90s, you would have never seen that coming. But they're like the best of friends, and it is freaking hilarious. They even have a wine together called something Crime 911 or something, because they both went to jail, and they're taking advantage of the fact that, hey, we were both inmates, now we're out, we're the best of friends, let's do this partnership. It is so funny. But it's great proof that you can rebuild your brand after it gets damaged. You just have to work hard at winning back the people. Honestly, what I'm noticing is that when people need to rebrand, the best thing to do is to apologize for what you did, be silent for a long time, maybe a few months, and then just get back to work. And over time, I feel like people are going to forget about it. A great example of this is Will Smith. You know, Will slapped the hell out of Chris Rock. It was all over the news, all anybody could talk about. How could he do this? How could he kill his reputation like that? Will apologized. He went silent. He made Bad Boys 3. And you know what? It's probably not 100% settled in everyone's mind yet, but I feel like if Will just focuses on the work and what he does best, people are going to forget about that little incident and he's going to be right back to where he was. So I'll no doubt make more videos about this in the future, but remember, branding is much more than just a logo and a name. It's really all about developing meaningful connections with your customers. So in my previous video, I talk about the long game versus the short game and how you can really leverage that to your advantage. So go ahead and check that one out, see which one might be best for you if you're on the brink of starting your own business. And if you found value in today's video, like all your friends are doing, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.